Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak again. I'm Linton. Some people know me as a Floki screamer, but much more importantly, I'm here on behalf of the entire community, and not on my not on behalf of Linton himself, if you get what I mean. So, Floki is I mean, how do I even start? Sometimes I struggle to describe to describe the project. But I'll tell you a few things about our community that a few people know us for. Right, number one, we're a Viking themed um, projects, and that's why we like to call ourselves Vikings, which you might have heard me refer to a couple of times on this call. We do have a couple of utility projects currently being built, and I'm sure you are aware of one of them. One is Valhalla, and of course Flokify, which we'll be talking about later on today. Valhalla is a play to earn gaming metaverse being built even before the word metaverse became very popular. And apart from that, we do have several other utilities as well built into the project. So, for example, right now, merchants are able to accept a Floki. So in that regard, some might even say that this is an actual currency because we have quite a number of merchants now that have integrated and set up to accept Floki, right? And apart from that, there are several other utilities. I think we'll get into that later on. But just as an introduction, I thought to say those few things.
All right, awesome. Yeah, I remember seeing the Valhalla stuff not too long ago, and everyone seemed very hype about that. I know the play to earn's kind of been a booming space, so it's definitely a good one to touch on. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to kind of, I get what you mean. It's hard to describe Floki because you guys kind of touch on everything. It's like a one kind of thing. So you got the FlokiFi, which we'll talk about today, and then the Valhalla, and you got a bunch of stuff going on. But I was kind of interested in how you guys, the dev, sort of abandoned, or I don't know if we're going to call it a rug pull, what happened, but so Floki is essentially a community-driven, like a fully community-driven project, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're spot on that. Yeah, maybe I can share more about what you mean by that, rug pull. If you people might be wondering. Yeah, I mean, when this project started when Elon Musk tweeted that his Shiba Inu will be named Floki. As you would imagine, hundreds of developers maybe that night hopped onto their PC and launched a coin, several coins named Floki. So this was one of those projects, right? And then we all came in, bought in, thinking, yeah, Elon is behind. I mean, not behind, but at least Elon's dog is going to be named Floki. Yeah, definitely. That's good. That's the ultimate meme, right? If the Doge father himself is naming his dog Floki, and the dev has created a coin named Floki, then you better believe it's going to be sent. So we all as degens came in, but unfortunately, maybe the dev who created it had other motives at that time, and or maybe his intention was pure. To be honest with you, I really can't speak for him, but all we know now is that the first contract was a bit buggy, right? It was inflationary instead of it being deflationary. So the moment the members of the community realized this, he was persuaded to make that change. Of course, we would have to relaunch the contract and make certain changes, and then the project continued from there. But this dev refused. He refused to do that, and of course, that was when the power of the community showed up. That was when the Viking spirit and the Viking trait showed up, where eventually this particular dev had no other choice than to kind of abandon the project. So he was on holiday, enjoying himself, and eventually he had to delete his himself from Telegram and abandon everybody in here basically. And that was when members of the community showed up. We had B, we had Saber, we had Mr. B, and a few others, came together and then to revive the project. The easy option would have been to walk away, right? But because they all noticed at that time that even up to now that the community was about one of the strongest meme. Like if you take Doge, if you take Shiba at that time, there was only one other project at that time that was quite fairly popular and had a very strong community and a very strong grading culture on Twitter and other social platforms at that time. So it was almost feeling criminal to just walk away, with that kind of community strength. So instead of walking away, everybody came together and then relaunched the project, and relaunched the second contract. Of course, in between the first and the second contract, there was a second rug pull as well. So that happened with a dev that was supposed to launch, the dev that was supposed to launch, well, let me say the supposed dev that was supposed to launch the V2 contract. Of course, he got about $550,000 worth of Ethereum at that time that was supposed to be used as the liquidity, as part of the liquidity back then for the V2 contract. So he got it in his wallet. At that time, the wallet was not multi-signature wallet. It was just a single wallet that he provided. And we were all sitting down waiting for the contract to be relaunched until we realized that the dev had kind of ran away with that money. Until now, we still don't know at least nobody knows his whereabouts. So that was the second rug pull. So that's why we used to joke that for you to mimic Floki, since then we've had a lot of people who said they are building the next Floki, and but of course that's never happened, because for you to make it happen, you have to rug yourself twice, right? And nobody wants to do that. So so that's how we got it.
Hopefully there's no third time. Yeah, that's definitely an interesting story of how it all kind of got started. It's going. It's awesome. You guys still have the level of enthusiasm and community that you do despite all that. It's really very interesting. So I guess let's hop to one of my favorite topics is security. So you guys how many audits have you done with CertiK now? Do you know?
Am I not losing track of that? Perhaps the fourth one.
Yeah, it's been a few.
Yeah, we have. I mean, you guys audited the BSC contract, the Ethereum contract, and we've had to relaunch. I mean, this is our fourth contract now, right? So I believe we did the third one and also the fourth one as well. So I mean, that's maybe about 6 when I said 4. So and that's one of the things that stands out. And maybe Vikings need to know. I think the last time we spoke, and the last time we announced that CertiK is a security partner. Maybe if people don't understand exactly the weight of that, so it means that for every single contract you write or anything that you want trying to do on the blockchain, then we have to work with partners like yours to be able to ensure that security is well taken care of. And thanks for all you do for us, actually.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. I mean, we love to help projects and communities feel secure, and that's one thing that's important for a lot of people to know is a lot of people think that you get one audit and you're done, you're good to go. Whereas community members and users have to know that anytime contracts upgraded, changed, or anything, like audits are an ongoing thing. So I'm happy to hear that you guys are kind of keeping up with that and continuing the security.
Yeah, absolutely. Security is top priority for us, and we would not. Probably not like some metrics. The first question that gets asked is how safe is this, and and what are the things that we need to do to ensure it's safe. Yes, that's even from a contract point of view, but even beyond that, even just talking about personal wallet security and all of those things, almost every single day within our Telegram group, we make sure we remind Vikings how to keep themselves safe, how not to click links that they're not supposed to click. So overall we take security very 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 seriously, and that's one of the major reasons why we would onboard a highly regarded company like yours to be our partner, to kind of work with us for every single contract that we write.
Yeah, I saw that you guys have is it Floki University, or is that the
Yes.
Yeah, so we are big on the education side of things. On our website, we have tons of blogs. We have Discord where we try to have different conversations regarding security and different topics for users. So, what do you got? What's your guys' main goal there? We do it on the security end. Talk about what types, what to look for in audit reports, the top scams we've seen in the last year, stuff for users to look out for. So, you guys kind of doing that same thing on your end to help users and community members?
Yes, we do that. Our goal with Floki University is to shall I say, is to ensure the mass adoption of all the technologies that are within the space, right? One of the things that we've noticed, and that we noticed early on during during the start of the project, was that there were a lot of people with limited knowledge about the blockchain technology, cryptocurrencies, and all forms of other digital assets. And we found out, because a lot of people were coming into our community asking questions that just makes it obvious that, oh, maybe this is a newbie into the space. And more often than not, these people fall into the hands of scammers and fall into the hands of people who are not even, whom they shouldn't even be interacting with. So, and that was exactly what inspired Floki University. Now we've already released the beta version, which we even had live classes we had a few people participate and learn. And interestingly, security was one of the courses that we took. And now we are the full version is going to be released hopefully by the end of this by the end of quarter 4 this year. And that would have a lot of there will be a lot of learning content, video materials and text materials and stuff that people can learn can use to learn more about the space. And security, I'm happy to say security is one of the major topics as well that we will be covering on that platform. So whether you're a beginner, whether you're intermediate level or even advanced, there's something for you at Floki University, and it's going to be launched fully very soon, hopefully by the end of Q4.
Yeah, I think that's an awesome idea and kind of thing to have because, I mean, I've been in this space for 5 years now, and there's still, like, no matter how long you've been in it, there's still stuff to learn. There's still new stuff happening. So I think that's a great tool you guys have for users, and we're happy to kind of help out on that security end if you guys maybe team up for some security tips and that kind of thing.
Absolutely, I think that would be very good. I mean, if she's not listening now, I'll definitely create that conversation and we'll reach out to you back again because security is one of the major topics and it will be good for us to also extend our partnership in that regard. So yeah, so if Dr. CryptoBrain is listening, I'm sure we'll reach out after this. Yeah, thank you for that for offering that. We can definitely work together to make this space more secure.
Yeah, I mean that's what we try to do that as well, but as I always say, security isn't sexy, and it's not always something that people want to take the time to learn about because they'd rather be doing the fun stuff, which I completely understand. But it is something that, at least on our end, we try to make it more aware for users and bring it to the forefront rather than something you have to worry about afterwards. Because, I mean, by the time most people worry about security, it's usually a little bit too late. And we're trying to bring that to the forefront and get users the info they need to stay safe in this crypto journey, as I call it. So it's definitely an interesting thing.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. But when the subject security pops up, it's usually too late. How many protocols are we gonna watch? Get exploited? How many wallets are we gonna get hacked? And we've seen a lot of that. It almost seems like these days, like if you follow a security blog news and news happening within the security space within the space, it's almost like every single day there is an exploitation. Every single day, something is going wrong. These are not even rug pulls, right? Rug pulls. Maybe there are tips of how you can kind of spot projects that are going to do this. This is not even from that perspective, but from a contract point of view or from a individual wallet point of view. Yeah, it's always too late by the time you want to get serious about security. So yeah, the more we can do in this space, the better to keep the entire space safe.
Yeah, that's why I like that you guys kind of staying ahead of it and getting those audits done prior to any launches and stuff. Because as we see a lot that projects or people say audits are expensive, like they don't want to do it because the price and that, but I mean, they're very affordable, at least on our end. And as we always say, it's a lot better to pay that up front than deal with the exploit after, which will be a lot more expensive. So yeah, and then you guys have Skynet as well, correct? Yes.
Oh yeah, we do. We do. I was going to even ask you about that. Like, I wanted you to sort of. I mean, as someone who is sort of, involved with some of the things being done. Yeah, I kind of understand it, but maybe it might be good for you to just kind of share with people how important that is, for projects like ours and other projects in the space as well.
Yeah, so for people who aren't aware or haven't seen it yet, Skynet is like an on-chain security monitoring service that we have. So projects, we typically bundle it with audits, and we highly encourage projects to get it. It can do things like it can identify any anomalies, like active flash loans, that kind of stuff. So it continuously, we call it like basically a 24/7 security engine that runs and checks the contracts for any anomalies or anything bad that's happening. And then the cool thing that, I mean, I think is good for the users is, so if you guys have seen the Floki project page on CertiK.com, it gives you a ton of information for users. It gives social analysis with all the, so for example, the Twitter insights, how many followers they have, whether the sentiment is positive, negative, kind of the new followers. And then it also does on-chain monitoring. So you can see stuff like how many transactions in a 24 hours, the price change. And then one thing I noticed with you guys is it also tracks like daily active users and number of wallets. And you guys have had quite the spike in the last month in daily active users. Have you noticed that on your end? Kind of increase in people or community members?
Oh yeah, we've noticed that, and you're right that in the last 30 days, yeah, that there's been, it's been an uptick. There's been an uptick in not just that, but even community engagements generally. Yeah, at a time where most projects are sort of on a downward hill, so to speak. So we have noticed it.
Yeah, it's impressive to see, especially in a bear market when a lot of projects are losing people. Here, you guys are gaining daily active users, which is a great thing to see. And then
Yeah, you're
I don't
right.
know if everyone's aware, like, because we're obviously very well known for our secure, like the audit portion of services, but we also like because auditing isn't an end all be all. Like that's not the only step you need for security. So we've kind of created a whole suite of services and products for projects to use. So we have KYC now. We just actually just launched a bug bounty service, and then we have Skynet, pen testing. So the audit, it's like we're creating a kind of whole security loop. I think you guys are using Skynet and audits right now, but if you're interested in the other products, we're happy to talk about those with you as well. But our KYC service kind of came out because of the increase in rug pulls and scams we've seen over the last year. I mean, we have a CertiK alert Twitter, which I'm not sure if everyone's familiar with, but we kind of do like live updates on any scams, rug pulls, that kind of stuff that we see. And that really brings to light the amount of rug pulls and scams going on in this space. So our KYC, we kind of came out of that, and it's a little bit different than typical KYCs that you see. Most KYCs, like through an exchange or something, it's just basically an ID check, and those are easily falsified. So we have over 100 point checklist that we do, and we have a team of background like investigators at ex law enforcement, ex military intelligence, kind of a very good team that goes through. We do live video calls, background checks, the whole 9 yards. So I don't know if that's something you guys would be interested in, but definitely for users, I would take a look and encourage that for projects because it really does give you that extra sense of security that I think a lot of projects could use now.
Yeah, 100%. I think this will be very useful for this space, and I do hope that more projects. I mean, not even projects, because sometimes the people who are out to scam people sometimes are not. They don't have an incentive, so to speak, to follow those kind of procedures. I mean, a scammer they probably would not benefit from following your KYC procedures and all of these things that you just explained. But I do hope that the more this gets popular within the space, I hope that team members, right, holders of projects, right, can push their leaders and these devs to go ahead and follow these KYC procedures, right? Set up the right structures in place. I mean, if you are a DAO, put in place all the legal measures and like we have done. So yeah, we could have a conversation on that. But yeah, but the more this gets more popular within the space, I think the safer the space is going to become. I mean, we have tens of projects every single month mimic us, right? We have several people who have created, the Floki killer, or the whatever, like all kinds of projects with Floki in there. Some might even kill themselves and then rise again as another name. But they've all ended up becoming being scammers. Largely, right? Largely, I'm not saying every one of them are. There are few projects who just fail. With founders who have the right intentions. But I would say 99%, are people who are out to just get people's money, right? So yeah, and I hope that that before people invest their money in this project, before people buy these projects, they actually ask simple questions like, are you audited? Who audited you? Have you KYC with these people? What level of KYC have you done? So yeah, so these services that you provide, CertiK, I think are very, very, very important, so that we don't get too many people losing their money just because of these should I say, scammers in this space. So thank you for what you did again.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I definitely do agree. It is a very innovative and new space, but and we got to be careful because we don't want it to be looked at in like negatively with all these scammers and stuff. So we're trying to get a handle on that before it gets too bad. And we're doing our Certix mission is literally to secure the Web3 and crypto world. So that is a very tall task, but we're doing what we can on our end to kind of combat that. And then for anyone who's interested, we do have a space tomorrow with Whalecoin Talk, and we will have people on from the KYC team to kind of discuss that more. So if anyone's interested, it's tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, so about the same time. And then just a little another tidbit on the KYC is if you do see, so we've had about over 200 projects apply to the CertiK KYC, and only I think it's about 20% pass. So it's not just so like if you see a KYC badge, that means a lot compared to other KYCs you see, because we don't just give a pass. Not everybody gets it. We're very selective with who we give that to. So I just kind of want to throw that out there as well. But then on to, I guess, one of the main topics of this space is the locker. So what can you kind of tell me and everybody listening about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I would tell you a few things, and I also would love to hear your thoughts about it. That is based off what you hear, and maybe based off what you might already know about this locker. Well, this Flokify locker. I mean, we can't talk about Flokify locker without talking about Flokify itself. So. Flokify is a subcategory like within the Floki ecosystem. So we are creating like a sub ecosystem of its own that will have different DeFi utility products within that Flokify ecosystem or sub ecosystem as it were. So the Flokify locker is just one out of many to come, and I'm sure you guys will you will start working on others as soon as it's ready, as soon as we get to that stage. So the Flokify locker, was announced, I believe, on just on Sunday, and it's a locker that allows users to easily lock and vest their tokens or NFTs and other digital assets on the chain, right? So with Flokify locker, people can lock, projects can go on that platform and lock their LP tokens. Of course, that's very important for a project like ours, because I mean that was one of the first thing that we had to do, right? And in fact, I remember that when we were trying to lock our LP back then, we were trying to lock it for, if possible, 420 years at that time, just because of the meme factor, right? Because Elon, Floki, and of course Elon, pushing the 420. Should we say meme now, right? Even up to now. So we wanted to lock our LP tokens for 420 years, and we couldn't find any locker at that time, even up to now, that could allow us lock up to 420 years, right? And beyond that, we had several other Vikings within the community who kept on asking, hey, I want to hold this for a very long time. I'm not interested in the short term, game here. I know you guys are going to be around. I know the project has a long life to stay. But what was the safest way of sort of keeping my tokens, and how do I ensure that? And I just want to lock it, and there is that psychological feeling that comes with being able to just it's like closing your gate at night and locking your gate at night. There is that feeling of safety, so to speak. So we actually had a lot of people, a lot of Viking in the community who were reaching out back then and asking for if something like that was possible within the project. And of course, back then the answer was no. But that led to that idea of having a project like Project L. It was supposed to be just a very simple protocol that allows Vikings at that time be able to at least lock up their tokens and then come back to it at any period. So if you want to lock your tokens for 1 year because you don't want to touch that, or lock it and then come back after 1 year. So that was how we started. But when we started working on it, we then realized that, hold on a bit, why this shouldn't just be limited to to individuals. How about we go back and solve that problem that we had ourselves when we couldn't lock our liquidity pool for 20 years? How about we try and address that issue? Why is it that there are just only about 2 major known lockers that everybody just goes on to lock their liquidity pool, and these platforms are limited in features anyway? And that was when our devs got even busier, and we started working to expand the features. So as I speak with you right now, even if we say it ourselves, this token locker right now is about the most sophisticated and the most innovative, in our opinion, and right now of all the options that exist, because you can lock multiple assets in a single transaction. So you can also, of course, you can lock NFTs. You can lock multiple NFTs as well in a single transaction. In addition to that, you can also lock and vest your tokens for an infinite period of time. So you don't have to. So if you have a project that wants to lock their LP tokens for infinity years, right? For 1 billion years, by all means, they can do that if that means anything to them within their project. So before we were limited to 265 years, but now, everybody can lock for as long as they want to. So yeah, so that's just a quick summary of what the Flokify locker is, and we believe that it's just one of the. And I should also say that also support multiple chains as well. So it's not just ETH or BSC. Right now, we only run on ETH and BSC, but the FlokiFi local has support for Ethereum, BSC, Polygon, Phantom, OK Exchange, KCC, and many more to come. So it's just, yeah, in my opinion, is one of the landmark projects that we have released amongst all the other projects within our ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very comprehensive answer. I like it. Yeah, I think it's a very cool idea. The fact that the ERC 1155 like allows you to have different types of assets in a single contract and not just limiting it to say Floki or anything else. Like you have the NFTs and all that in one contract is very cool in my opinion. So can you give hints as to what else is coming in the FlokiFi ecosystem, or is that soon to come?
That's soon to come. That's soon to come. But Vikings are not ready for it yet, man. Vikings are not ready for it. Like there are quite a number of things that are coming. The DeFi space is it's becoming more mature. Of course, we've seen a bit of issues here and there with certain landmark projects, misbehaving or maybe failing. But we are here to create something that lasts, and they are just more. There'll be more to come soon enough. But I wish I can talk about them though. But maybe not now.
In due time. Yeah, I mean, exactly. I like that you guys kind of listened to the users and took that feedback and really ran with it. That's one thing we try to do as well. I mean, that's one cool thing about the crypto ecosystem as a whole, in my opinion, is kind of how projects actually do listen to community feedback and take that into consideration and do implement changes based on that. I mean, it's kind of the only place where you do get such engagement from the community, I guess, where they are very vocal, good or bad, about their opinions and what projects should be doing. So I just want to throw that out there, that I like that you guys kind of listened to that community feedback and then did something about it.
Thank you very much for that. And the reason why we can do that is because this is a community-centric project, right? We are a DAO, so it's community first. It's never about the team. It's never, and that's why team members don't promote themselves. That's why team members don't talk about themselves. That's why, I mean, when you ask me and for my introduction, that's why it's not relevant, right? Because what matters is the DAO itself, right? If you want me to talk about the project, oh my God, I can go on for 3 hours, right? And the same thing applies to other team members as well. So it's not about a few people in the steering. It's about what the Vikings want. The Vikings wanted a landmark utility project. We gave them Valhalla, right? And that is still being built. And then they yearn for something else. We give them several utilities that are already part of the project. So we are a DAO. So just in case, or maybe people listening may not know, we are a DAO. And if you check some of the major decisions that have been made in our project right now, were actually voted upon by the members of the community. And now, within the next couple of months, we are taking that a step further by ensuring we transition to a full DAO where virtually every single thing that gets done within the project starts as a community proposal that can be tracked on the chain, right? So right now, maybe it's still sort of, maybe people sending DMs and sending emails and all of that. But eventually, we will get to a point where anybody within the community can raise the proposal, and if they get the backing of the majority of the community, then so be it. That decision will get implemented. And so far, I'm glad to say that, unlike maybe some other DAOs that we've seen, we have not overturned any decision so far made by the DAO.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. I really like that. And then one of the questions I kind of picked out of that tweet we did earlier was from Ash BTC, and the question was, what would be the benefit for a retail investor to use the locker versus holding the crypto on a ledger or other cold wallet? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I saw that question, and interestingly, I actually noted that. I noted that question, to sort of, it was one of the ones I was going to maybe ask you, to see, what your thoughts are. Well, I don't know. Do you want to take a stab at that, or do you want me to go? I mean, as a security expert in the room, so to speak. I think the question was asked with more of a security mindset in mind. If you,
yeah, I mean, I think locking it is a bit different. I mean, obviously, as from a security standpoint, I think cold storage is a very good option for a lot of people, but it's not for everybody, I guess. And I mean, yeah, I have a ledger and I use it as well, but I think it just depends on the user, what their preference is. I mean, if the locker is secure and everything, then I don't see why it would make a difference. As I said, cold storage is for people. It's not for everybody. Some people keep their stuff on a exchange. Some people keep it on a wallet. It's kind of, I don't know. I mean, let's hear your take on why you think. I'm curious on that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you there. I think it depends on the people, and it also depends on the reasons, right? if I were in people's shoes, again, I mean, I'm not giving an advice here, guys. So this is not a security advice. So I have someone within this project, for example, that I interacted with some times back, who said, I mean, that was after the launch of this, who said, hey, yeah, he is not necessarily so comfortable with cold wallets. So he sort of expressed that. I mean, right now as I speak with you, he can't even wait for this to be launched. He's immediately planning to lock up his tokens there, and he believes that this gives him some sort of of course the protocol is secure. We talked about what you guys have done to help us helping us ensure that is safe and secure. Yeah, but he still doesn't fully get cold wallets. And this is the middle ground, for him to say, okay, well, I can at least have a protocol where I can deposit my stuff and lock it up there, and and with that, nothing can happen to it. So the sort of my response to him was then, well, that's fantastic, that's great, but perhaps I would have a 50-50 situation where maybe I'll opt 50% for cold wallet, and then maybe the remaining 50% I'll lock it on the Flokify locker or any other locker that anyone wants to choose, right? So that was what I said. So I think it depends on people. There are people who are just super comfortable with protocols like this, and they would go in there and lock it up. And then there are also folks who as you said, who would prefer a cold wallet as well. So it depends.
And for the locking, is there a minimum and maximum time the users have to lock, or is it kind of, you can do it for a few days, you can do it for, or is it like a specific time frame?
Yeah. The time you want to lock for is in your hands.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is maximum 420 years? Did I read that correctly, or is that just
Infinity? Maximum is
infinity? Okay.
infinity. Yeah. So if you want to lock for 1,000,000 years and you want to add it to your wheel for the next 30 generations to come, absolutely, you can do that. So if you want to lock for 100 years, it's possible. If you want to lock for 200, 300, 400, 1,000 years, absolutely, it's possible. Infinite period.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so if you wanted to lock it away for your great grandchildren or whatever, you can do that. If you want to lock it away for a few days, you can also do that.
Absolutely. And even though I recognize that Ash is asking there about retail investors, but let's not forget that this is actually extremely useful for projects, right? So even while retail investors might make the decision whether to lock NFTs or to lock tokens in there or not, or versus a cold wallet, their projects can't make that choice, right? Right. Projects have to, have their liquidity pool locked up somewhere, right? Preferably somewhere independent, right, of their own protocol itself, and then they have to show proof of that as well. So that's where this becomes useful. And for every transaction that happens on that protocol, of course, there is a revenue for the project, which, I mean, we can talk about all of that later on. So this is very, very, very useful for project. So when you see a new project in the space, and when you see a project that you want to ape into, I think the right question to ask them is, if they've locked their liquidity. We all like to ask that question, and then the next thing to then is then to also ask, okay, what other have you considered the Flokify locker, right? So this is where this becomes really useful. And also, I mean, as someone just mentioned now as well, like I was trying to explain the other time about the psychological effects, right, of locking something up, right? That helps with people who maybe cannot necessarily control themselves from selling too early. Now we don't decide when people buy, when people sell. It's up to them to opt in and opt out. But there are people whose intention is to hold for long, and sometimes due to temporary situations going on, maybe within their lives personally or externally as well, they sometimes just find themselves selling. So for people to avoid that sort of short-term impulsive decision, I think that's where it's also benefits a retail investor to lock their tokens up in a protocol like this versus just opting for a cold storage.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I've been, as a user, I've been on the panic side of things, where I've panic sold, or whatever you want to call it, the psychological games that you see, and where you sell it and then the price doesn't actually go down, it goes back up, and you're like, well, crap, I just missed out on that. So I think that's definitely a benefit for a lot of people to use it in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, the Viking I was referring to earlier on, that was his intention, but I didn't want to kind of capture it that it doesn't get passive, that I'm asking people not to sell or anything. But that was the conversation that this person has, that, oh yeah, I've been waiting, like, of course there was something else that then came with that request, which I don't want to mention at all, but I know Viking loved that word, which this person was asking if it is possible already with this lockup, but of course not possible, but maybe sometime soon. But then, yeah, that was the intention of this person, to prevent himself from selling impulsively.
Yeah, so I mean, there's different reasons for everybody, whatever fits your personal preference and all that. I mean, all that goes into the decision. But yeah, I mean, I think that all makes sense. And then let's see, do you want to throw out a question that you picked up from the tweet, or I can throw out another one on my end?
Yeah, I can just quickly ask a question, like, how, I mean, I know you did mention a few things already about Floki, but it would be interesting to hear. Sometimes we always like to hear how, how people perceive us, but now not just perception, because you have actually worked with us. You've seen our, I mean, your team has seen our contracts and all of that. So how well this, I don't know who, I think this was, I can't remember who asked this question, but I saw in the tweet you posted earlier. How well do people hold up against? How well does Floki hold up against other projects that you have audited concerning security?
Well, so I am on the marketing side of things, and I don't like to overstep and act like I know too much about the security end because I'm not a professional in that sense. But I mean, you guys are very conscious with your audits and you've gotten many. So on that end, I mean, he kind of stays ahead of the game and does continuous audits. I like that about a project because you'll see a lot that kind of get one and then just to appease the community and say, oh yeah, we got audited, and then they're done with it. So I like that you guys are repeat customers and kind of stay ahead of it. Any new contract or anything like that, you guys get audited. So that's one, that'd be a green flag for me if I was looking at a project. And then I also love the community-driven side of things that you guys do. But yeah, I mean, can't give financial advice or any recommendations or anything, but those are, from outside looking in, those are my perspectives.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, security is top. It's top in our minds, definitely, and yep, and we won't stop at just this one. We'll keep ensuring that all our contracts are audited by you. Then I have one more from DeFi Rabio, which is who is one of our Vikings here. So he says, with all the exploits happening around crypto, what does CertiK do to ensure exploit risk is minimized when auditing contracts?
Yeah, so just so everyone understands, like an audit, we go through the code and we highlight vulnerabilities, and then we give recommendations to the project on how to fix them. But we can't force a project to implement the changes or anything. We can only recommend it. But then on our end, to provide that transparency, every audit is listed on the security leaderboard at CertiK.com. So we give users that they can go in and see, okay, CertiK recommended they fix this centralization problem. So CertiK recommended they do this. And then we show people whether the project did implement those changes. So that's one thing we do on the community side of things, is provide that transparency for everyone to see. And then, I mean, on top of that, that's kind of why we've created all these different services. So it's not just security audit. I mean, the Skynet, KYC, bug bounty, like all that kind of bundles together for an ultimate security package, if I will. And then, yeah, I mean, I think the scams are very prevalent. And as far as our end, we're doing what we can to minimize that and be transparent with the community. And then the KYC, I know I touched on this earlier, but I think that is one of the best things a project can do to kind of provide that trust for users, because, I mean, it does say that they'll be held accountable if they do scam or anything like that. We have their information and we can give that to the authorities, and we have in the past. So on that end, I think the KYC is one of the best things a project can do for security. It's not for everybody, but on our end, and then education. That's one thing we're big on. I know you guys are as well. But just giving users the knowledge to know what to look for, what to be wary of, and that kind of thing. I don't know if that fully answers it, but that's what I got.
Yeah, it does. It does. It does. I believe DeFi Rabio should be listening, so it does. Thank you very much. Yep.
And then another one I had was, when can we expect FlokiFi to go live? I know you guys did the announcement on Sunday, you said, but...
Yep. Yeah, so it's live on the testnet right now.
Testnet,
So
okay.
people can go. Yeah, so you go to testnet.flokify.com. You will be able to test it out. But in terms of going on mainnet, yeah, that will be very soon. So I believe we're still working with your technical team to ensure the audit is completed. Once that is fully completed and once all any potential possible bugs are completely fixed, then absolutely we will be ready for mainnet. Well, we're looking at about, I don't know, anywhere from 2 weeks from now, maybe, depending on how soon CertiK releases us. Because if you don't give us the green light, we can't release on mainnet, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, now everyone's going to be asking us, oh, when's this going to be out? So you guys, everybody, and I get you don't want to give a hard answer because then if you can't predict the future and if something happens, you got to work around some things, and everyone's like, well, you said this day, so I get that, but we'll look at around 2 week time frame.
Yeah, exactly. And then guys, after 2 weeks, if it's still out, so when for every when minute, then we just reply ask something.
Well, you guys do have a strong community, so I'm kind of scared about that, but we'll take the engagements
you,
nonetheless.
you get the Viking treatment.
And then that's all I had for the most part. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on before we possibly bring on some live questions?
Yeah, I think we kind of touched on some of the other questions that I picked up during the conversation. So I think okay, maybe I have one here, right? So okay, no, yeah, I mean, I don't want to ask this. It's about listing exchange, which is not. Yeah, we touched on other things that we have, but
Yeah, I
that I
saw
can.
that exchange question, I believe, and I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I mean, as far much as I can tell, there are many exchanges who do prefer CertiK audits and like to see that, and that does help with exchanging. But I don't know too much on that end. I don't know the ins and outs of the exchange listings, but I can give that a lot of exchanges do prefer CertiK audits, and they like to see that, and that's definitely a green flag for them. But yeah, I can't touch too much on that.
Yeah, that's easily understandable. So yep, I understand.
Let's see. Let's bring in.
Yeah, and if anyone has any question, maybe we can also, right? We can take live questions.
Yep, I put one through. He's connecting right now.
All right.
Let's see what's your name. Soroshian? You're on mute. All right.
Yeah, F.SSH solution.
All right, Biz, you're on. Do you have a question? People requesting to speak and they're not speaking.
Yeah, sometimes it's spaces actually. Sometimes Twitter spaces sometimes have issues.
Yeah, I got you.
Hello.
Hello. Did you have a question, Biz, about Floki or CertiK or anything?
Mic check.
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah, Biz, we hear you. BIZ, we hear you.
Okay, perfect. My question is for yourself. I saw an anniversary video. I think it was like a month ago. Floki posted an anniversary video. It was like drone footage showcasing a plot of land. I just had a question in regards to the anniversary video. Was in this space you kind of try to read between the lines. So I was thinking like it was a plot of land that possibly be building something, but I just wanted to inquire and ask.
Um, when you say building something, you mean physically,
Well,
or something that looks like a metaverse?
Well, on the Floki YouTube channel, there was an anniversary video, and there was a drone high in the sky showing a plot of land. And it was just for like probably an hour. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of it, but it
Yeah, we
was
are working.
it was just showcasing a plot of land. I was just wondering if there's meaning behind that posting. Like, was there?
Yeah, that was a symbolic way for us to mark our anniversary.
Okay.
Yeah, and we actually launched a physical version of a coin, of a token, into the stratosphere, and we broadcasted that live.
Okay.
And that was symbolic. So if you
Okay.
get what I mean.
Oh, thank you. That's all I want to ask.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys got people watching every move you do. So you gotta,
Yeah, yeah, that was actually a very proud moment. I mean, when we started in this community, maybe Bees is still listening, I believe. When we started, people said, "Yeah, just give them a month, they're gonna be dead like every pump and dump." Then 3 months came, they said, "Oh yeah, this is still a pump and dump. These guys are gonna be out soon." Then 6 months again, they said, "You watch it. After 9 months, they're gone. They are going to disappear." In fact, there was a VC we scheduled, and there was a lot of fraud leading up to that VC. That the announcement was about how somebody within the project was stepping down. Of course, they were wrong. And then 1 year, right? So I mean, we just felt, how else should we celebrate this, right? Other than launching a physical copy of our token to the stratosphere, just to demonstrate, where we came from, like how we rose from nothing, how we rose from a rock pool to becoming the third, biggest meme coin at that time in the entire world. So that's the symbolism there. And some might also say that maybe we would continue that trajectory going forward. So again, there goes the symbolic representation of that announcement and of that video he is referring to.
okay, that makes sense. That makes sense to me. And then I know we're pretty wrapped for time, but just want to give the last chance for any other requests to ask anything, and then if not, I think we can wrap it. You guys have another space coming up, I believe, so you can wrap this up.
Yes, absolutely. We have amazing Cobra Kai, who will be hosting the next spaces with him and Mustashi. Please, guys, try and hop onto spaces later on to participate in that conversation. But if anybody has any question, I'm happy to answer. Maybe before we go, just while we're waiting, do you want to give your last your maybe some closing comments on your thoughts? I know you touched on it a little bit, but what do you think about this Flokify locker, based on what you've heard now, based on what you now know about it? What do you think, both from an utility point of view and also from a security point of view, like about what you guys are doing with us, and how important it is for such a protocol to be well secured?
Yeah, I mean, as a user, I think it's a very cool idea and very useful for a lot of people. It does protect, as we touched on, protects users from kind of that panic selling or panic moving. Just keeping the funds kind of stored away and safe is a very good thing for users. And I mean, as far as security, I can't talk too much on that because I'm not the expert in our company, but I can promise that any vulnerabilities or issues CertiK will find, and we will give recommendations on how to fix those. So that's definitely one thing I wouldn't worry too much about. Again, I mean, we do have some of the best auditors in the space. Our team is very, very well versed in. We've done about almost 4,000 audits now. We've worked with about 4,000 different projects, and we've seen about everything there is in the space. So, I mean, I trust our auditors, and if once they give kind of the green light or the go ahead, I mean, I would trust it, but I can't touch too much on that or give advice or anything like that. But yeah, I think it's a cool product you guys built, and I'm excited to see how it works.
Thank you very much. Yep. Hopefully very soon we'll launch on mainnet when you guys are done, when you give us a green light, and then everybody will be able to use it. So thank you for those words.
Yeah, I would just tell everybody, keep an eye on CertiK.com and keep an eye out for that audit report. It will be on the Floki project page as well as all their Skynet stuff. So I would definitely recommend everybody go check that out and see what all the info we have on there is. It's very useful in my opinion. So just recommend everybody go check that out. And then I would also recommend people go join our Discord. It's pretty new, but we do have, especially for people who are interested in security-related education topics, we do have that. The link is in our Twitter. We're bringing up new topics each week, such as wallets, exchanges, that kind of stuff. So kind of giving that conversation around security in a more person-to-person way instead of us just preaching it in blogs or Twitter. So just wanted to throw that out there for anyone who's interested as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure Vikings will. So thank you very much. Thanks a lot for hosting us.
Sounds good. Maybe we'll do it again. So we're too many spaces, but we're been doing more lately as they've been more popular. So we've been hopping on a few lately. So maybe we can do this again sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we love spaces. I think we have an average of 2 or 3. I mean, even more than. I mean, this week alone we probably have about 5, more than 5. So we are quite active on spaces. So yeah, we should do this again. Let's talk security. Maybe we even host a session more focused on security, and yeah, just to keep the space even safer. And we will touch base on the university partnership later on.
Yeah, sounds good. Next time we're bring some more security focus. I mean, I'm on the marketing team, so I don't know too much. I don't want to overstep a lot of what I talked about. Maybe next time we can bring in someone like an auditor or someone like that who knows more of the ins and outs and kind of give more insights than I can.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right,
Thank
sounds
you.
good. Thank you for joining, and thanks for everyone who tuned in.